Hello? I have to start wearing this hat because my pink hat is such a mess. So, let's see. It is... Okay, I'm taking that back to the library. It is... I don't know. It's like 5:30 on Sunday, and I'm running around frantic because I just filmed 2 videos. I stayed up super late last night. I just finished a book. I'm trying to get all my books caught up. The Mistletoe Secret by Rachel Paul Evans. It's a Christmas book. I'm so thankful that I'm finally done with it. And now I'm taking down all of my video stuff, so I'm sorry that I'm walking around, but just bear with me for a second. And then I'm going to go get something to eat, come back, do a live stream. And then I am going to go to my meeting, come home, and prepare for Booktubeathon, which starts at midnight tonight. I'm so excited. And everyone keeps on texting me, they're like, are you going to just like wake up tomorrow morning and start reading? I'm like, no ma'am, I do it like at midnight. So yeah, I'm really excited. And I just can't hide it. I believe the children are the future. Teach them well. And I'm like really wanting to eat something bad today though. But I've lost 4.6 pounds, so I'll probably ship it. The other thing that I'm not very happy about is that I have lost this book that I owe to the library. I didn't even take my medicine today. I have no idea where this book is. And so, I'm probably going to have to pay $15 for this book or something. This pisses me off. It's why I love the library, but like I can't use the library because I'm just not good at it. I'm not good at using the library. I'm trying to rock this new hat. It does something different than my old one though. But like if I wear it enough, I think sooner or later I'll get used to it. So yeah, that's my day today. And I cleaned out all of my books over here, which I'm so excited about. The only books I have left to read are Summer Days and Summer Nights by Stephanie Perkins, which that could be a good August read anyway. Tilt by Ellen Hopkins, which I may have to start over. And The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is a reread, which I think I may wait until this fall. So take that one, put that on the bookshelf. And then, how far am I into this Ellen Hopkins book? Yeah, I don't even know who these characters are anymore, so I'm gonna... So look, I'm down to one book. And then what I do is, I go on my Goodreads. And Ramona Blue, I'm finishing. Okay. Stephen King, It. I'm going to have to take that probably off of my... Well, I really want to read it, though. I wonder if I could get It done in August. Well, I just finished a book in a day, so you'd think that I've literally read a book a day this week. Isn't that crazy? 5. Okay, so I have 5 books on my Goodreads right now. Ramona Blue, I will be finishing tonight. Before Booktubeathon starts, I only have 2 hours left of that. Oh my god! And then, So that, I mean, like, that just gave me, like, made me feel, what is it saying that it's so hot? When I've only been on here for 5 minutes. Oh, because I just made a bunch of videos before this. I am so proud of myself for actually getting my Goodreads reading list up to date. It feels very refreshing. I feel like I've been to the pool also. Okay, I'm gonna go get something to eat, and I'm gonna go get a coffee, and then I'll be back. Bye. So I'm just leaving Whole Foods, where I bought mostly this quinoa salad. That's gonna be my dinner. But I did get these quinoa chips that are like low-cal, low-fat. People are just so healthy in Whole Foods. And they taste like every time I do a food thing and I talk about like what the food tastes like, it always reminds me of the very first Amy Slayton video I saw, where she was like, y'all wanted me to try this deep fried Twinkie, so I'm gonna try it because y'all wanted me to, but I'm not doing any more food tests after this. And so she tries this deep fried Twinkie and she said, tastes like a pancake. And that's like the whole video, right? 80,000 views. I mean, it's crazy. And so anytime I say something tastes like something, they taste like rice cakes, kind of, but barbecue. I used to eat rice cakes like crazy. Like, when I was so healthy, when I was a vegetarian, I would eat like rice cakes. For breakfast, I would eat a rice cake with peanut butter on it. And then I would like cut up bananas and put them on there. And that was like my breakfast in the morning. Can you guys believe that I used to eat that way and I ran every day, 5-10 miles a day? I can't even believe it. The cars in the parking lot at Whole Foods are almost as gorgeous as the people inside. Have you ever noticed that before? It's because it's so expensive to shop at Whole Foods. My husband went to the baby birthday party, and he was sending me pictures. Here, I'll show you. Of my nephew, my godson, Sebastian. I mean, how precious is that picture? Do you see? That's so precious. And I was like, are they swimming? And he said, yeah. But then I texted him, I was like, how's the food? That was 20 minutes ago, I haven't heard back from him, so he must be having fun. His mom and this is his friend's niece, who's 2, and then, his mom came, because it's like all Venezuelan people. It's like his friend is Venezuelan and her whole family obviously is Venezuelan. So he had his mom come, and then my sister-in-law Liliana brought the kids, and it's just like this outside. They have this gorgeous pool outside around their house that has like, you know, like people that have those things like past the pool where it's like, it's enclosed and it has like a built-in bar and a built-in like couches. Like they have one of those. It's like, this house is phenomenal. So anyway, that's where the birthday party is for the niece. And, but it started at 2 o'clock on Sunday, and y'all know how I feel about birthday parties in the middle of a Sunday. Plus, I had so much stuff I had to get done. My nose has been driving me crazy. Oh, it looks like it's gonna rain over there. My nose has been driving me crazy lately, and I really think that, like, it's the allergies. My head hurts every day. It's like, I mean, I get migraines a lot, but most days I don't have to take a leave. But in the last month and a half, like, my head has really been hurting a lot when I get up in the morning. When we went to Mexico, I didn't have to take a leave one day in Mexico, which is like, I mean, I came back and then like the next day I had a headache. Is it my real life or is it allergies? I'm starting to think maybe it's allergies, you know? I need to be listening to my book right now because I have 2.5 hours left of it. So I'm gonna do that, and then I will talk to you guys later, because I have to finish this book before midnight tonight, Ramona Blue. And it's really a good book. I understand now why people don't like it, because it's kind of about a subject. It's about sexuality, but it's done so interestingly. Like, I haven't read a book from this kind of point of view, like sexuality-wise. It's gonna pour down rain. It's gonna pour down rain right before Booktubeathon starts. I'll be sitting outside on my front porch, all excited about it, and then pour. But I haven't read a book that, like, sexuality has ever been discussed this way before, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody that reads it. It's just interesting, and I can understand, like, why people have a problem with it. But I think that what's so interesting to me about the book, if you stay open-minded, is that it's such an honest telling of what she's going through. And I think if you step outside of what it's about, like, it speaks about love on such a grander scale. And, but I'm not done with the book yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. Anyway. It's really a good book, though. Ramona Blue by Julie Murphy. It's a great summer read, too, although it starts in the summer and it goes through the whole year, but it very much feels like you're in summer the whole time you're reading it. I don't know how to explain it any better than that, but you do. It takes place in, like, this beach town in Mississippi that's kind of by Biloxi, and she talks a lot about Katrina in there, and Hurricane Katrina, and how it left the families and the businesses and things like that. So it's a really interesting read. And the character Ramona Blue, I've just fallen in love with. She's just such a great character. Julie Murphy writes these characters like Dumpling that, like, you love, but, like, they're so human that you can, like, they kind of piss you off at times. But that's why you love them more, almost, because they are so human. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, I'll be back in a little while. Oh my God, I'm counting down to Booktubeathon. I can't, it's like, oh my God, 5 hours and 40 minutes. Talk to you guys later. So I'm on the way to my meeting. I just ran in to get my fountain pop. My meeting. Diet fountain pop. That's my second diet fountain pop of the day. I am not doing very well in this fountain pop stuff. But I didn't get coffee today. There's your rationalization. I need to pick a day and just do, maybe I'll do that with Tanya. Pick a day and not do any fountain pops for a month. Why is it so dark all of a sudden? You can't see. If I open this, it'll be too loud though. You still can't see me. Alex's sunroof in his new car goes all the way back. It's really cool. Anyway, I kind of like the aesthetic, so to speak. If I turn on the light, you still can't see me. So I'm on my way to my meeting, and I basically am as prepared as possible for Booktubeathon. And, you know, I was thinking about last year, and it was like, actually, speaking of Tanya, I just remembered that, like, I thought I was sitting there when Booktubeathon started, but I wasn't. I had all my stuff ready, and then Tanya at like 10 o'clock was like, do you want to go get a fountain pop? And I did, and then we ended up driving around, and it was like 11:45, and I was like, I need to get home, and she was like, oh, I forgot Booktubeathon. I was like, yeah, it starts in 15 minutes. And she was like, well, I didn't mean to keep you from it. And I was like, no, and then that was when that whole, like, thing went through my head when I was driving home, that I was like, this is corny. Like, why am I doing Booktubeathon? You know, like, I'm 44 years old, and I'm doing a readathon, and, you know, now, tonight, it's like a year later, I love it so much. Like, I will never not be a reader. Like, it baffles my mind, people that don't like to read. Like, it's not like a thing like I look down on them. I just don't understand it because I've done it my entire life, you know? Like, I've loved to read my entire life. And I'm sure it's like other people with sports and things like that like watching sports, you know, that they don't understand how other people don't like sports. But I just love to read so much, and I was thinking about this tonight, like, even if YouTube was gone, even if, you know, websites were gone, and there was no more Booktube and no more Bookstagram and no more book bloggers, and there was no way to do like a readathon, I would still like come up with my own readathons and come up with 7 challenges. And I think that like that corny, cheesy side of myself that will forever be the 10-year-old kid, you know, like just doing corny stuff in my mom's kitchen and play acting and playing imagination. Like, I think I'll forever have that for my entire life. I really do. And I think in moments where I have said things where I felt like I didn't fit in or I felt out of place, like, I think it's really not being around a tribe of people that understand me. And I think, you know, like, to talk to anybody that loves reading as much as I am, whether they're 15, 25, or 55, or 75, and to explain to them why I'm so excited about this Booktubeathon, you know, anybody that relates to that, that is very much my tribe of creativity, would totally get it, you know? And I think that one of the things is that you have to be surrounded by people that understand, and like, you know, even though Alex doesn't like to read, he very much understands that for me, this is like a music festival of books. It really is, you know? Like, he gets so excited about music festivals, and I likewise get so excited about readathons, and it really isn't a whole lot different, you know, it just isn't. And so I'm packed. I hope I get my second wind. I'm starting to get a little bit tired. I was almost going to skip my meeting tonight, and I was like, this is my home group meeting, I need to go. So if you guys don't know what a home group is, in 12-step programs, you have a meeting that you make a commitment to that you go on a regular basis, and I actually have a service position in this meeting. That's when I say I have like a thing I have to do for like my 12-step program on Sunday mornings. That's the service position that I hold. And they have meetings once a month, and then I come back to my group and I report it. So I would love to tell you guys more about it and the beauty of the 12-step program that I'm in, but it's a violation of what's called the traditions, and it really is that we don't speak on outside issues, and so it's so important to me that I don't violate those at the expense of seeming that I know more or less than somebody else, because there's no hierarchy. And I owe my entire life and everything that I have in it to that. So that's why I can't really talk more about it. It's funny because those people that are in the same program as I am, or a similar program, they know what I'm talking about because they'll comment on videos or they'll send me emails or messages. And I love that because, you know, it's very much like, it's like seeing a cousin, you know, like, out at the mall that you haven't seen in a while, but like you guys are from the same family, if that makes sense. I don't know, it's a cool thing. So anyway, well, I'm gonna get off here. It is such a beautiful night. I thought it was gonna rain, but it's not. It's like pink and purple skies, and it's so pretty. Cotton candy sunset over Indiana tonight. You guys wanna see? I don't know how well it'll capture on film. Do you see that? Indiana sunset. Yes, sirree. So, I am going to get off now and listen to my audiobooks. I've got 2.5 hours. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it before midnight, so then I'm going to have to go over and finish it after midnight and then start my new one, and that's okay. That's okay. I mean, I can't be perfect in everything. I try, but... Anyway, I love you guys, and I'll see you back in a little bit. Hello? So, I just completed the first hour of Booktubeathon. It's actually like, it's 1:30 right now, and I am getting ready to drive around and listen to the rest of my Julie Murphy book. I have an hour and a half left of it, and then start Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. But I had to get off of the front porch for a little bit because I've been sitting out there forever. I like almost missed it, you guys. Like, Alex was upstairs and he was watching Iron something at some Marvel show on Netflix, and he had like the fan on and stuff. All the dogs were there. I thought he was going to bed, so I said, I'm just gonna lay. This was after I got home from my meeting. I was like, I'm just gonna lay down next to you for like 5 minutes and he was like, or for like a half an hour, and he was like, okay, babe, and that was at like 11. I woke up and I looked at my phone. Like, I don't know how I woke up. I was like, I was out. And it said 11:54. I like panicked. I was like, oh my God, I've got 6 minutes until Booktubeathon. And I was like outside Windexing my table, because that was the one thing I hadn't done, and got my pink lemonade, and got all my books out there with my bookmarks, and like I literally sat down and I looked at my phone, and it was like 12 o'clock, and they were like, the first sprint is going to start at 12:05. I was like, yes, because they do these sprints where like you read for like 10 minutes and all this kind of stuff, and I was so excited. So I read first chapter of Eliza and Her Monsters, and then I read the rest of the hour. I read A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, and I read like 40 pages of it, and that's the book that I'm reading in one day. So by tomorrow at midnight, I will have, hopefully, A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness done. God, everybody told me to read this book, and it's so sad. I mean, it's like so sad. But I've never read a Patrick Ness book before, and I love it. And, I mean, what an introduction to an author, you know? So anyway, it's Booktubeathon 2017. But then I went and I watched the challenge video for day one, which is like, come up with I don't even understand it. I'm like so dumb at those things. People think I'm so deep. I am like so not deep. I don't understand stuff. It's like you have to come up with a monster by the words you find in your book or something like that. I'm so confused. And I'm like, I don't think I understood the assignment. So now I'm like, I said I was going to do all the challenge videos, but I'm like, am I going to do all the challenge videos? Because I don't know. Like, I don't know that I can do this one. I don't understand it. And I already know one of the challenge videos I won't do is when they do this challenge video where they do like a maze, you know, like a domino maze where you use books. And I'm like, I am not taking out all of my books to do a domino maze. Like, that is a mess of trouble. So I won't be doing that one either. But I'm so excited. I can't believe it started. And I have to get gas so my tank is low. Something smells funky outside. I can smell it coming into my car. So I would say, if you've never read A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, it's fantastic. I'm not that far into Eliza and Her Monsters yet that I can decide if I like it or not. I mean, it takes place in Indiana, which I live in Indiana, so that's interesting, because the author's from Indiana, and I love when authors write from where they're from. And, so, okay, I'm gonna get gas, and then I will be back. There is just something that is, like, so all-American summer about the gas station late at night in America. There's like, it's just like all-American summer, you know? Like, people walking in, people walking out, getting fountain cokes, getting slushies, getting hot dogs. Isn't there, like, people stopping on their road trips late in the night? You know, people asleep in the back seat, cars packed to the gills with all their stuff. They just, you know, went to the lake house, or they went to go visit grandma, or whatever, you know, the beach. There's something so, like, summery about it to me. I find summer in the weirdest things. It's so interesting because, like, I was thinking about that tonight with Booktubeathon. Like, I think forever going forward, even if I'm 70, Booktubeathon will, like, represent summer for me. Of just sitting outside and reading, and I really want to get, like, okay, so, well, Peter fucked up, because I thought I picked a book on Audible that was 9 hours. Six of Crows is 15 hours and 40 minutes, but I'm not going to change my TBR now, and I want to read the book. And so, how I'm going to finish a 15-hour and 40-minute book, you have to remember I'm reading 6 other books, well, actually 7 if I do the group book. So I'm reading 6 other books, so it's like, I can't just drive around all week or sit on my front porch with my earphones on. And I also have a full-time career and make videos on 3 other channels. So I'm like, how am I gonna, and I figured it out, and it's like 2.5 hours a day I have to listen to it. So, which then it becomes like a labor of love. You're not like I've said that like in 3 videos in a row. It's like you're not really listening to the audiobook anymore out of enjoyment. You're listening to get it done. But what happens to me always, whenever I listen to a really long book, that I'm like, I'm never gonna finish this because it's so long. I mean, I like the 6 to 9 hour books, honestly, on Audible. But what really always happens to me is I get so into the book that like I can't put it, like I can't stop listening to it, and then I end up like finishing like a 15-hour book in like 3 days. It's crazy. So we'll see. But I still have to finish Julie Murphy's book. But you know, forever I think Booktubeathon will represent summer to me, of, you know, being outside and reading and all of that stuff. So I'm very excited about it, you know. I love summer. Summer's just, I don't know, I can remember like, well, when I was a kid, I read this, I have a favorite, one of my favorite children's books is this one, it's just called Summer. And I've talked about it. I actually read it on my Booktube channel. And it's about this girl and this boy and their dog and all these things they do. They go to the carnival, they go fishing, they spray each other with water hoses. And it's like, you spray me, I spray you. And water makes the things grow too, or something. It's so cute. And it's like, it starts off and it's summer break. I can't remember how it starts, but it's like, summer brings the sun and heat. It also brings us cool things to eat. And then they're like eating ice cream cones. I love it. And it's all the things about summer that you would absolutely love, you know, and I've had ice cream. I've got Booktubeathon. I haven't, well, at the end of it, my favorite part of it is when they're riding on top of this like farmer's bale of hay, and he like tells them to hop on top, and the pup is fast asleep, and they're like laying on their backs looking at the stars and the constellations. It's like my favorite part. Of course I haven't done that, but I've been outside a lot at night looking at the stars. Does that count? With my pups. And what else do they do? I haven't gone fishing this summer. I always have mixed feelings about fishing. I love to fish, but I feel like it's mean to the fish. Does anybody else feel like that? Do you guys feel like that? And I won't take them off the hook. I can't do that. Like, I have to have somebody else do that. And then, what else do they do in the book? I don't know, but it's just been making me think a lot about summer today. And it's, you know, this summer has seemed so long already, and it's been such a wonderful summer. I've had such a great time. We had such a fun time at the music festival this weekend. And it was so fun just to dance outside with Alex, and you know, it was like old days for us. Of like, we go to Ultra every year, but like seeing our friends and running into random people, and it was really fun. It was so funny because the guy that I was talking about that like started a business here in town, was real successful. I ran into him at the gas station today, and this other friend of his that he was with, his wife was at the thing last night, and I asked her, I was like, oh, where's your husband? And we had just seen them at Alex's birthday party. They came for Alex's birthday party. And she was like, it's girls' night tonight. We left the guys at home with the kids. And so when I ran into him at the gas station, I was like, oh yeah, we saw, you know, so-and-so last night. And he was like, yeah. He was like, we're running out. It's boys' day today. We're running around. And so anyway, and he got a new car, so they were running around in this new car. But, I don't know, it's just been a good summer. And I remember as a little kid, like, school was just not a safe place for me, you know. I did not dislike school. I had some teachers that I did not like because teachers were not safe for me either. I know that a lot of people out there are school teachers and whatever, but I think there's always the missed child in the room that is being bullied, and the teachers sometimes don't even realize it. And I was that child, and the teachers would perpetuate my bullying. I had teachers that mocked how I talked. I think there's a private place in hell waiting for those teachers that mock children. And I'm sorry if that sounds harsh. I do those things because it made me feel like I had no protection in the school. You know, I had nobody looking out for me. But I had friends in school, and I loved, you know, like things we did, and you know, I loved Mrs. Hop reading us "Help, I'm a Prisoner in the Library" in 4th grade, and you know, and I loved recess for a while, and then as I got older, like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, it was hell. But I can always remember that first day, like running home, you know, like that last stretch of my street of summer, and I hated field day. Do you guys remember field day? I hated it. I'm just totally not, I was not like an athletic person, obviously. And like those sprints and all that bullshit they would make you do. And everybody was like, field day, field day. Do you remember field day? And you do it like in the parking lot of the school and you get ribbons and shit. The only thing I ever had a possibility of winning was the eraser walk, which was so embarrassing. And then you'd have to pick what everybody did. You know, it was like the 50-meter run, the this run, the that run, and then they'd be like, who wants to do the eraser walk? And I was like, me, because that was like the only thing I could ever do. And that was always like the second to the last day of school, and I hated it. I hated field day. And, but it's like one of those things that you couldn't skip out on because everybody else loved it. So if you were sick, like I couldn't say to my mom, I just was so protective of my mom from knowing that I was being bullied because she was such a great mom, and I didn't want her to know, like, I didn't want my dad to know either. I think my dad knew, though, you know? But, so, like, if I had said that to her, she would have, like, and I knew she would have caused a scene. I knew she would have gone to school and demanded that somebody deal with it and all this, and I just didn't want that, you know? So, this is not going to be a long vlog tonight either. I seriously need to be listening to this book and getting on my books, but, so I just didn't, you know, like, nobody knew. Like, it was this hidden hell that I lived in, kind of. But school, or my home was always a safe place for me and my dog and stuff like that. So I couldn't wait to run home, you know, on the first day of summer. And then summer was just so awesome. And, you know, summer, I was telling Alex this last night, or 2 nights ago, because we, like, got rained out of the concert. We were walking, we're getting soaked. He's like, you just walk like you have absolutely not a care in the world that you're getting soaked. And I go, it's 80 degrees outside and we're being soaked. And by this, I don't mind. Like, it's refreshing to me. I like it. And I was telling him how when I was a little kid, my mom and I, if there was a big thunderstorm like that outside, we would like go, do you remember that movie Foul Play? I don't know why I just remember that because there was a huge storm in that movie, but I love that movie Foul Play. Excuse me. And also, I love that movie Seems Like Old Times. Because it Seems Like Old Times, that's the second one. Yeah, I love that movie too. They don't really have anything to do with each other, but they're basically the same cast. It's Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn. Anyway, my mom and I would go out into outside, and we would wash our hair in our bathing suits in the rainstorms, and I love that. And then we would come inside, and my mom would make me tomato soup and tuna fish salad sandwiches. I don't know why we ate some. I don't eat fish today. I will eat tuna salad sandwiches, so I do like those. But I don't know why we ate so much tuna salad like in the summer. It must have just been really easy to whip up. And I remember my mom always like made it in this metal bowl that she had. I have it now, but it's so funny thinking about that, you know? And I can see in the closet, like the pantry closet we had, it had like just can after, I just got like real weird thinking about that pantry, that I'll like never see that pantry again. I don't know why that just weirded me out, like in my head. It was just like can after can after can of like tuna salad or tuna fish. And then like we would always have saltines. And then we always had peanut butter. And there were like, and I would eat like peanut butter crackers with saltine. Like, did you guys ever do that? Oh my God, I loved that. My mother also, like an after school snack for me was graham crackers with white frosting, which we always had. It's really funny because my mom was very cheap. And I don't mean to say this like in any kind of way, but she really didn't need to be. I mean, my mother was basically set up when my dad left. When my dad left. When my parents got divorced. I mean, my dad did leave, but that's because she wasn't leaving. But anyway, she was so cheap. It's like, I think she was terrified of how she was going to take care of herself, even though she had a lot of money coming in at that time. But when she passed away, it was interesting because I thought she had gotten some huge settlement. And if she did, that money's not out there. I don't know where it is. But anyway, she had basically, she had jobs here and there, and she she worked in school systems for a long time she was a special education teacher forever, and her specialty was working with kids that had autism. But she didn't do it consistently. Like, she was a teacher's aide, or she would do this. She had a lot of retail jobs through the years, but So I don't know where the money went. I know she put a huge chunk down on her condo, but she also got money when she moved out of the house, so I have no clue. Doesn't really matter, but I was thinking back about that pantry door, and my mother was so cheap, like so cheap, that like everything would be like generic. Like she would never buy like name brand cereal. She always, if it was like Raisin Bran, it was always like the generic Raisin Bran. And she'd be like, no, it's too expensive. She's like, name brand cereals like $2 more, and we're buying the cheaper one. She was always like that, but like with saltines and peanut butter, always name brand. Never generic. Isn't that so funny? I remember that. I don't know why. But like snacks in the summer, I have talked about this on here because people have sent me pictures of it. Those little, they're called like juice jars or juice cannons or something that have the metal on the top of it, the like aluminum foil that you peel back and drink. And you get literally like 50 of them for $5. Okay, those were our drinks in the summer, no soda for us. But I don't remember neighborhood kids like really, we didn't really drink soda back in the day. Like, you know, parents would make like Kool-Aid. Like seriously, parents, I mean, there's jokes about Kool-Aid now, but like, I remember it was like 2 cups of sugar and a packet of, you know, Kool-Aid. And, you know, that was what you would drink for the summer. You know, Kool-Aid, all different kinds of Kool-Aid. You couldn't wait to go to the store and pick out the packets. And then it was like, you know, the big packets of Kool-Aid, or the big tumbler things came out. And then the Crystal Lights and all that kind of stuff. But I remember, like, did you ever remember back in the day? Do you guys remember? If you're old as I am, you'll remember this. Like when your mom would make Kool-Aid, and it always happened when all your friends from the neighborhood were over, and she'd be like, does everybody want some Kool-Aid? And you make Kool-Aid, and your mother would forget to put the 2 cups of sugar in, and it just tasted nasty. Do you remember that? I don't know, maybe nobody else's mom did, but my mom always forgot. She'd be like, oh, I forgot to put the sugar in it. I think she was trying to make us healthier, but that Kool-Aid with no sugar in it. Do you guys remember what Kool-Aid with no sugar tastes like? Oh my God, it's sin. It's nasty. Summer, that's what I mean, just like those days, you know, and staying up late, and like, do you remember you just like sit in the yard for hours? I mean, like in 3rd grade, and just like have these intensive talks with, you'd like go and you like catch lightning bugs, and like, maybe that's more like, yeah, 3rd grade, something like that. You catch lightning bugs, the Ding Dong Ditch, do you remember that? And you play games like, what was the one in the Ghost in the Grave? Ghost in the Graveyard. Do you guys remember that game? Oh my God, I love that. And then you'd play like light as a feather, stiff as a board, or stiff as a stone, or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. And you'd spook each other out, and you'd play hide and go. I mean, there'd be like 20 kids from 3 different streets playing, you know, in the neighborhood. All, you know, you'd hiding behind stuff and whatever. And I miss those days. God, not a thing to worry about. Then you come inside and you'd be like so sweaty. And your mom would be like, okay, you have to take a bath. And you always get to stay up later in the summers. But kids get to stay up super late now, like 1 in the morning. Like my friends let some of their kids stay up until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, we were like inside by like 8 or 9 the latest. And I can remember we'd be so sweaty. I'd be so sweaty. Then my mom would be like, okay, you have to go take a bath. Never a shower, always a bath. Do you remember like that? Like when you got old enough to take a shower? I think that's so funny. Miss those days. They were so much fun. And then I get in bed, and my mom would read to me a lot, or we would listen to those old time radio tapes. But in the summer, I was like such an avid reader that for like I got to stay up later, so I would either watch like a part of a movie with her, or like I would like lay in bed and read for an hour. And I read everything when I was a kid, and I always loved like the scarier the better. And then when I was with my dad, like I wasn't with my dad a lot in the summers when he was working, because it was just too difficult for him. And my dad literally was on call like from the time I was born until I graduated from high school. And so he just never knew his schedule. Now, when I was younger, if I was with him and he was on call, I went with him, and I could sit in hospitals sometimes for 5 and 6 hours waiting for me, and he'd have me like right down the hall, and as he was doing surgery, and I'd sit there in like the little doctor's room and eat donuts and drink coffee and watch, you know, like Murder, She Wrote on TV and stuff like that. And in my pajamas, you know, he'd just grab me out of bed. I can remember him sometimes going, come on, Pete, and he'd like pick me up out of bed in my pajamas and put me in the car and be like, we have to go to the hospital. And I can remember we would go in and like somebody had been admitted to the emergency room, like let's say if they got into a bar fight and their finger had been cut open, and I would say to my dad, this is so funny that I remember this, I would say to him, is it the ER or the big OR, Dad? Because like if it was just the ER, he could go in there and stitch it up and then it was done like in an hour and we were out of there, right? And if it was the OR, the operating room, then that meant it was like, and I never really kind of got that concept until I got older, that it was probably pretty tragic, whatever the event had happened, that they would have to go to the operating room. But all I knew was that if it was the operating room, it was going to be really long. And on weekends at my dad, because it's like he and his partners like would trade call on weekends. So if I was with him, like my parents really worked it out a lot, so that most weekends that he was off call is when he had me. But you know, like my dad was single. He wanted to maybe have a weekend when he wasn't on call and didn't have his kid, you know? Like I look back on that now, my dad was like so good about that. Like, you know, didn't really ever fight my mom for like, if she wanted me, you know, he just was, I mean, I can remember my dad, like, she would like want to go do something, and he would like just come and pick me up, and then I was with him for the night or whatever. He was always, my dad has been an awesome dad when I was, you know, growing up and as an adult. And, but I can remember, like, I would take books with me a lot of times because I didn't, you know, I would like, I think that's part of like where my love of reading comes too. But like if it was his weekend, like he would pick me up typically on like in the summers, like on a Thursday, because he had surgery on Friday mornings, and I would go with him and just sit in his office, and then when he was done like by noon. A lot of times we went to the boat in Saugatuck, Michigan for the weekend, but if it wasn't a boat weekend and if he was on call, we would go to the bookstore and he would say, you know, pick out whatever you want to pick out. And that's the story on my main channel of the chick who tore apart my my 4th of July story, who tore apart my Judy Blume books. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, bitch. I'm still pissed about that. That woman's probably long dead 30 years ago. But anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my video I did on my main channel about 4th of July. But he would like say, you can pick out whatever you want to pick out. And I can remember like I would pick I can remember one weekend, I don't know why I remember this, but I picked out like a collection of like Roald Dahl books, like James and the Giant Peach, you know, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Glass Elevator, which I never read The Glass Elevator. The Witches, like I had 4 of them, and then I like would read them the whole weekend because I was like such a huge reader. But he would say like, okay, we have to go to the emergency room, bring a book, and whenever he said bring a book, I knew that meant we're gonna be there till forever. I mean, sometimes we would go there at 11 o'clock at night and we would be there till 7 or 8 o'clock the next morning, because he would just, you know, it'd be like, I mean, now looking back, I know why it was. You know, it'd be race day weekend, or it would be Memorial Day week. It'd be something that I'm sure there were just all kinds of drunk driving accidents. And the hospital that my dad worked for, there were actually 2 of them in Indianapolis. I think there's 3 now. They have surgery centers all over. But there was like when I was like in junior high, they built the newer one, which is like in a nicer part of town. But the other one was like in not the nicest part of town. So it got a lot of bar fights, it got a lot of car accidents, got a lot of like fights on the street, things like that. Really kind of like sketch things that like my dad would have to go in there and, you know, sew these people up. And those were kind of fun times now that I look back on it. You know, one of the things that this vlog has really provided me is to really reflect back on my life and really, you know, like it almost kind of makes me cry a little bit, like think back about like these simple things that were so priceless to me growing up, you know, like my mom's best friend coming to visit and us crawling in there, or me going to the hospital with my dad, or to the boat on the weekends, you know, or him grilling out steaks on his little patio in his apartment, or my dad built this house on this lake in Indianapolis, and before then he lived in this apartment that was probably about a 10-minute car ride, but probably an hour bike ride or bike ride, and he would run out there as the house was being built, because he had hired, you know, like a builder and all that kind of stuff, and designed the house himself. Well, it's so different out there, and I mean, it's so built up, but when he when he was building it, like to a certain point, you go to the interstate, and then on the other side of the interstate was a gravel road all the way out, right? Well, I would like ride my bike, and my dad would run. Like when my dad and my mom got separated, my dad became like this health freak, and he's been ever since, and ran marathons and all kinds of stuff. And so he would run, and I would bike out there with him, like ride my bike, and this guy like came like zooming past us in like, you know, Trans Am or something, and like just dusted the shit out of us in this gravel road. And my dad, you don't fuck with him, and he picked up this rock and he like threw it at this guy's car and was like, you motherfucker, and all this kind of stuff. Well, it like shattered the back windshield, and the guy, I mean, it was literally like this cloud of dust in our face, we couldn't even see. And my dad, the guy like turns his car around, and my dad goes, come on, we gotta go. We like went down the side of this ramp in the grass, like underneath like the interstate where the guy couldn't find us and stuff. Oh, Dad. The good old days. My dad wanted, it's probably in his will, I swear to God, he's just the kind of guy that would do it. Wanted his casket put on 2 kegs of beer, and he said, I have to get up there and tell everybody. My dad wanted everybody to have one last beer on him. My dad is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. Just absolutely hilarious. I watch my videos back sometimes on my main channel, and I think I truly get my humor from my dad, because some of the things I say, I'm like, are things that like would come straight out of my dad's mouth, you know? And I'm so thankful for that. It reminds me of the Roseanne. If you've ever seen the Roseanne when her dad dies, and she doesn't have a good relationship with her dad. I do. I mean, I don't see him often, but I have a good relationship with him. And she doesn't want to go, and she doesn't want to say anything, and there's this part where at the very end, she writes this thing that she's gonna say, and she doesn't say it, or these things that she wants to say, and she goes into the room by herself. I think Jackie might be in there with her, and when you get older and you've had one parent pass, you start thinking about these things, you know, like what things would you say to your parents if you don't have any conversations, you know, like, you know that this is the last time, because you never do know, you know. I mean, no matter what age we are, we don't know, but my dad's 76, you know, he'll be 77 next month. And she says all these things to him that she needs to say because she's so upset with how he treated her. And then at the end of it, she says, thank you for your humor. I love you. And she puts the note in the casket. And I always think of that scene, you know, like, the gifts we get from our parents, you know, no matter, like, people in our life, no matter, like, my cousin contacted me today, and I just realized I didn't text her back. I'm so bad about texting people back. But she said that she had found my aunt's journals, which she didn't journal as much as my mom did. My mom kept journals consistently from the time she was 18 on. But my Aunt Kathy did not. My cousin was kind of explaining to me about the journals. And she's like having a really hard time reading them. And I remember when I read my mom's journals, like I haven't read all of them. I mean, there's so many, there's no way. But they were really hard for me to read too, you know, and I think sometimes it's so easy to see the negative in somebody's points of view, or in our interactions with them, or the effect that they had in our life. I mean, we all want to read a journal that somebody has that says, you know, just always glowing things. But the reality is that's not our daily interactions with everybody, you know? And, but I look at my cousin and I think my cousin got the best qualities of my aunt and the best qualities of my uncle. And she's such an amazing human being. And, I don't know why I'm so emotional tonight. I read that stupid Monster Calls that got me bawling on my front porch. I think the more fun I have, like I say this a lot to people, like they're like, I don't like to be sad, I don't like to feel emotions and whatever. And I'm like, but it's the bitter and the sweet. Like if you don't get sad and you know, I don't know, let down sometimes, and you can't, like, or emotional, then it didn't mean anything to you anyway. And then the flip side of that is you can't have this ecstatic happiness without feeling sad. There are not people that are ecstatically happy all the time. That's called mania, is what that's called, you know? And they're not happy. They're like, you know? I'm just so thankful for my life, you know? We were talking about that in my meeting tonight, you know, that like just gratitude for like, you know, my problems 22 and a half years ago were, where am I going to get, you know, some pills? How am I going to afford to drink today? I don't really care if I live or die. When's my family going to find out about everything I've done? You know, I don't care if I go to prison. You know, I violated my probation. So they're going to send me because I plea bargained the case, living in fear, constant fear totally. And then my problems today are like, oh my God, I woke up with 4 minutes left until Booktubeathon. You know, oh my God, my computer's not uploading my video fast enough. I want everybody to be able to see my vlog because it'll be funny. Shit, I just realized I didn't post my vlog. You know, I mean, it's like my problems are not that deep. And it's like, my problems are really pretty good, and I think they're representative of my life today. So I should be thankful. And I'm right at 29 minutes, and this is going to cut off, so I'm going to get off here. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow! Love yourselves and love your life. Bye.